there is no standing still in the dual cab ute market in Australia. Hot competition means that manufacturers have to continually update their product to stay relevant in 2025. That's why we're at the launch of the brand new facelifted Mazda BT-50. Now, this model has been updated 4 distinct times since it was introduced in 2020. However, this is the most significant update of all. Stick with me to figure out what's changed and what's stayed the same. The most obvious change, I think, is the exterior design, so let's start there. Now up front, this car does get a whole new front fascia, which incorporates a set of new headlights at the front end, a new grille, and then a massive Mazda logo on the front end. They're obviously proud of this car. This SP specification, the flagship model grade, it does get a unique BT-50 red stripe in the front grille to show you that it is the top spec. But this car, it does get a genuine front bar accessory with integrated light bar. It is nice that Mazda offers more than 100 genuine accessories that buyers can select from in customizing their car. What do you think of the overall design? I reckon it does look similar to the other models that you do get in the Mazda lineup. Let us know in the comments below if you think that this facelift is better than the one before. Train spotters will notice a new design set of 18-inch alloy wheels on this SP model grade, which are in matte black. Then around at the rear of the car, design changes include a set of new tail light lenses, and then indentations in the tailgate to accentuate this car's rugged off-roady look. And then one thing I like to see in a dual cab ute is gas struts, which mean that this thing doesn't clamber down and create a racket. But two other things I also do want to mention is the fact that XTR model grades and above do get a drop-in tub liner as standard, as well as a genuine tow kit. Imagine you had just ordered a Mazda BT-50. Let us know in the comments below what sort of genuine accessories you'd be fitting to your BT-50 and what model grade you'd be going for. And then as well, if you're not a fan of the Mazda BT-50, you can browse examples of this car's rivals on Drive Marketplace. Australia is the most important market for the BT-50 globally, so it's little wonder that the car first made its debut down under. This major update takes place after its twin under the skin, the Isuzu D-Max, was revised roughly 12 months ago. That overhaul brought design changes and tech enhancements in addition to price rises. It's much the same over in the Mazda camp. That means new infotainment software with up to a 9-inch screen on top spec variants, a new 7-inch multifunction digital display inside the cluster, and finally the brand has ditched the piano black trim around the center console area. There are some other subtle tweaks, including a revision of the glove box detailing, though this will be a very familiar car to BT-50 owners. The BT-50 continues with a 3-litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine that outputs 140 kilowatts and 450 newton meters to a 4-wheel drive system. It's Isuzu's engine underneath, but that's no bad thing. The unit has proven to be a sturdy operator in our experiences over the past few years. Safety has also come in for a boost thanks to stereo cameras with a wider detection area, stop-and-go traffic jam assist, rear cross-traffic braking, and expanded collaboration of the adaptive cruise control system and traffic sign recognition. The number of variants on offer is smaller than before, and there are no more manuals or the flagship Thunder specification. Prices start from $36,400 for cab chassis body styles or $48,210 for dual cab versions. The car we'll look at in closer detail is a new top-spec BT-50 SP that costs $71,500 before on-road costs. However, Mazda is now offering drive-away pricing on a number of variants, which sees this SP variant cost $67,990 to drive away. It is distinguished by blackout exterior highlights, 18-inch alloy wheels in black, a sailplane sports bar, side steps, roof rails, and a tonneau cover. The changes Mazda has made might not be enough to tempt buyers out of a pre-facelift model, but it certainly looks sharper alongside other utes. Don't forget, you can check out Drive Marketplace for deals on current-gen Mazda BT-50s or its rivals too. The level of change inside this cabin will be easier to appreciate for previous owners and car nerds like me, but overall, there is not much difference inside this facelifted car. That's no bad thing, because this has been a very functional and very easy to live with interior in years past, and this is no change. The functional storage that you do have on offer includes two cup holders in the center console here. There is a tray underneath here for your phone, however, no wireless smartphone charger. There are 4x4 controls around the gear selector here, a rear diff locker button, and a rough terrain mode, so you can have that on 4x4 examples. Then obviously a 4x4 mode dial here as well. There are dual USB-C ports. That is a change with this facelift that has changed from USB-A to C. And then I do like to see actual physical controls for the air conditioning system. Things that have changed inside this BT-50 facelift's interior include indentations in this dash panel here. And then these are a set of new upholstered seats in terracotta Maztex sort of fabric, and then suede inserts inside the interior. You're also getting BT-50 insignias on the headrests. There is no change with the Mazda BT-50's infotainment screen size. That is still 9 inches. However, the underlying software that has changed. So that means that you do now get wireless Android Auto. That is handy to have in this car. And then there are sort of functionality add-ons as well. You do have displays like angle displays when you are off-roading. And then there are tire pressure monitoring as well. That is nice and handy to have in this BT-50. One other change is the fact that this car does get a 7-inch instrument cluster, and that does have differing displays so you can cycle through and view all kinds of information as well. Here I am in the back seat, and I'm finding I've got a good amount of space back here. My knees have clear air behind the seat back in front of me. I'm 194 centimeters tall, so this car is doing quite well in that regard. I've got good headroom underneath this headlining here, and then there's space even for my boots in terms of footroom. Amenities-wise, you've got air vents in the back of the center console here, a USB-C port, a hook for holding items like that and shopping, and then a fold-down center armrest, which reveals a pair of cup holders. One other thing you might see behind me, emblazoned on the rear window, is "Give it heaps." That's Mazda's new catch cry for the BT-50. So it's likely that you will be hearing that term on ads and media and that sort of thing in the months to come. All right, let's start off-road because this is largely what the Mazda BT-50 is designed to do. Over the past couple of days, we've thrown some pretty tricky terrain at the BT-50 and it's sort of just eaten it up without any sort of fade whatsoever. The impressive approach and departure angles mean that you can round over some particularly nasty bumps and not have any sort of contact with the ground. And then there are off-road modes as well, such as a rough terrain mode that does help this car get over some tricky terrain without too much wheel slip. So it is nice to have that ability on offer. We are going downhill at the moment, but the torque on offer from that 3-litre turbocharged diesel engine, the torque on offer from that means that you can sort of go up a hill without any sort of worries of running out of puff at all. And this car remains impressively capable of some pretty tricky terrain. When you are dropping into a bit of a tricky rut like we are in at the moment, the level of ground clearance on offer is really impressive from the BT-50. It sort of just ramps over those sort of large imperfections in the gravel and rock that some other utes might come unstuck by. But yeah, this Mazda BT-50, it's doing a fantastic job of off-roading. I'm reversing at the moment, and one thing I do like to see in a dual cab ute is a really high quality camera system. So when you are reversing on a trail, you can see that high definition picture of what you're sort of about to go over. So the Mazda BT-50 does do a good job in that regard, and I can see a clear picture of what I'm going over. So nice job to the engineers in getting that clarity. You do have a really good amount of ability offered from this car straight out of the showroom. When the going does get particularly tough, you can select the rear diff locker, but in the off-road sections that we've been doing, we haven't needed that whatsoever. We've just been tackling it with the 4x4 mode enabled, which is handily accessed down on a dial here, and the rough terrain mode, which can be a really handy thing when you are in some particularly tricky areas. Coming back onto the road in the BT-50 is as easy as changing that dial down on the center console to too high, and then away you go. Now, as I said before, this car is powered by a 3-litre turbo diesel engine, which is shared with Isuzu. And we know from years past that this is a really dependable engine. We've taken it off-road, we've driven it on-road for thousands of kilometers, and we haven't, at Drive, had any sort of negative experiences with this unit overall. So it is a really handy engine to have under the bonnet. It does come paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission, which really does shift at the right point. If I put my foot down now, it really just easily changes down into a lower gear and gives you really good forward momentum. And then the torque offered for overtakes and that kind of thing is really handy to have on tap. And being easily accessible is important as well. Keep in mind that this BT-50, it does have a 3.5-ton towing capacity, which is the same as you do get on things like a Ford Ranger, an Isuzu D-Max, and a Mitsubishi Triton. Mazda has updated the safety credentials of the 2025 BT-50, and I just want to say that it's nice to see in this day and age safety systems that don't really interact with your driving that much. Now, in some other cars, we've seen beeps and bongs that think you're doing the wrong thing when you're in fact doing the right thing. But in the BT-50, you don't really get intrusions from safety systems at all. So it is really nice to have that nicely balanced system. The BT-50, much like the Isuzu D-Max, it does come with a light steering quality, which doesn't quite match the size of this car. It is handy to drive this car around town and to be able to sort of twirl it into a car park without too much trouble, but in my opinion, I just think it doesn't match the sort of big, tough truck experience that you do get with this Mazda BT-50 otherwise. In terms of fuel efficiency, this car, Mazda claims, will do about 8 litres per 100 kilometres, but in real terms, it is doing about 10 litres per 100 at the moment, and that's not out of the stratosphere in terms of fuel use, but it is that little bit higher than the Mazda claim. The ride comfort on this Mazda BT-50, it is pretty good across the board considering what it can do off-road and obviously payload as well. However, it can skip and jump over larger imperfections in a road. It's not to an annoying degree and it doesn't upset the otherwise impressive on-road ambience. I'm actually not hearing too much road noise, not too much wind noise either. But overall, it just can sort of skip and hop over certain imperfections in the tarmac. Whether it's a Mazda BT-50 or the Isuzu D-Max, they are twins under the skin. Both of these cars offer a really great driving experience, whether you are on-road or off-road. And I really do like to see that drive-away pricing from Mazda at the moment for $67,990 for this spec vehicle, the SP. That is drive-away. That is really impressive compared to other utes in the segment. This is the biggest revamp that the Mazda BT-50 has seen to date, and although there are not huge night and day differences with this car underneath the skin, the changes that have been made make this car an incrementally better thing overall. At least, I think it is modernised to a 2025 standard now. It remains a fantastic daily driver that has all the creature comforts that you would expect from a top-spec ute, and then it's equally capable of tackling some serious off-road terrain. We certainly gave it heaps. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like to show your support and consider subscribing to get all of our future content uploaded to your inbox. As well, you can read more about this car, the 2025 Mazda BT-50, in the full review on Drive.com.au.